Okay. Love is Blind, season 8, the finale, episode 13. Who saw that coming? I didn't make any like official predictions, but I didn't think it was good. I didn't think this. And I'm not mad at it at all. I think everybody's where they're supposed to be, right? My name is Seneca. Welcome to my casual channel where we talk about anything casual or monumental as it relates to life and life's events. And today we're talking life's TV shows, a very casual, popular TV show that happened to be a little boring this time around, but we're still here because I'm still grateful to talk to you guys about it. If you'd like a White Lotus something, I was thinking about dropping something. I don't know. Subscribe, comment, give me a like if you giggle at any moment. If you don't, whatever, it's a free country. Anyway, we start off on the cliffhanger of Ben and Sarah. Ben and Sarah, they just got asked, will you take Baba to be your husband? And she starts off saying, Ben, I love you so much. You know it's about to end when you start off with I love you so much. Oh, and then she says, I've just always wanted a partner to be on the same wavelength. So today I can't. Thank you. Seriously, you needed to do that, Sarah. You needed to do that. Else I feel like she would have regretted it. Everybody's mouths are just like, except the sister, because the sister knew what was up. Why did we not see the sister's partner actually? But it was very interesting that the sister, me and her are probably thinking the same things. Like, oh God. Oh my God. She could find somebody else just a little bit more aligned. But she does reaffirm him. And she's, like, I love you. I blah, blah, blah. I forget exactly what she said to him. And he says, I want to stay. I do want to stay with you if you'll let me. That's just so, if you'll let me is so tough to hear at an altar. She literally just said that you're not on the same wavelength. She literally spelled it out for you that you're not the person. You're not the interesting. We see Molly and Lauren in the crowd. Boop. Shut up, hot Scott. Very interesting seeing them. It was like seeing like an old friend, even though we literally just saw them last week. She in the like confessionals and talking to her family, she goes, still today I could see myself saying yes. He's such a great guy. He's blah blah blah. But I'll get into more of what she says later on, like her one-on-one confessionals. But they catch up in the car before that, and it's interesting because as they break away, he tells Molly and Lauren, I just want to talk to her. Like, I just want to see where her head's at. I just want to talk to her. And then she's telling her family all the reasons why she didn't see it with him. But she's talking about, like, basically the things that we been knew that I think would have been said, but I think she was more so saying it to give further clarity as to what came to that decision, because it seemed like on paper they were going to be great. The thing I think that really got the mom and the sister was just like, I looked at his church's stance on LGBTQIN and it seemed a little traditional, seemed a little hateful. And I think they just are like, oh no, we get it. She tells us in a confessional that she wants someone who's more curious. I think that's the best way to state that. I think that her saying, I just want him to be more curious is truly like such a fair way to assess that. He like reiterated at least 2 or 3 times, I stay out of things. My church stays out of things. I don't want to talk, I can learn about them on my own. You don't need to like help me with these things. I'm glad she said that. Anyway, Ben, on the other hand, thought that they were on the same page. His square would. He would. He's the definition of a square, for real, dude. For real. And I'm gonna try not to go too hard on him because this is probably a difficult day. I really do like, as much as I like to just gab and yap and yammer, I also do want this channel to like lean into empathy of people, because these are real people. As much as it's like, yes, it is entertainment, at the end of the day, like, I don't know, he has probably felt like he's doing all the things he needs to do, staying out of uncomfortable political topics out of like self-preservation, thinking like he's being the most peaceful that he can be. However, I kind of feel bad because I feel like I have these feelings towards Ben because he just kind of triggers some like pastor's kid thing in me, where I feel like a lot of like people in the church, people who are conservative, feel like they do no wrong in being faith-based and staying out of things, when I feel like Sarah arguably is asking more valuable questions that are truly based in love, equality, and justice. And his faith to me feels more self-serving. I just found it a little bit odd because, of course, his friends do pray over him, which is sweet. Like, I think that there is power in prayer. And in that moment he needed it, but it also kind of feels like this also triggered something in me to be like, your like moments of prayer are like so like I said, like they're kind of self-serving. They're not like, I don't know, dude. I support you, Sarah. I support you. Okay, yeah. Also, if you could consider giving me a like, I'd really appreciate it because my husband did threaten to leave me if I didn't grow my YouTube channel. So if you could just, I would appreciate it a lot. Thanks. Monica and Joey. We have Monica and Joey. Joey King, he long boards in. Monica's family is getting together and they bring up Joey's lack of affection and affirmation. And I feel like it's interesting because we have only recently been seeing her talk about this, so it kind of feels like a little bit more intense because it was brought up a little bit before, but now it feels like there's this heaviness, which is the wedding pressure. And you're like, all of a sudden you guys have these problems when you're supposed to be our golden couple. What the heck? It's almost a little confronting and uncomfortable to know that like they actually do have issues. It's like, no, Netflix, don't tell us, please. I'm a little uncomfortable with the fact that they're not the people I thought they were. The people they showed us to be. Also, I don't know. I feel like with the Garrett and Taylors, with the, I was gonna say Zach and Bliss's. No, with the Lauren and Cam's, with the golden couples of the show, it's really interesting to watch that be less and less. Are we putting that archetype on people, or is Netflix is crafting that archetype? And it's really interesting to see only like at the very end be shattered. Because honestly, I feel like they didn't have issues until like now. But is that also the show just not really telling us until now, not really sharing the things that they're sharing with us until now? Yes, and Monica's family is all together to bring up the thing. Joey mentions, I think because he's like he's talking to like a producer, which is like how we get the confessional things, and he brings up her sister not being so supportive. It did cause a little bit of an issue. It is a little bit of an issue for us, and she's seemingly more supportive now, like the last time that we got together, but I don't know if it was so genuine. I do like that Joey's so for real about this, though. He's like, the sister does not like me, and that's going to cause issues between us. That's just what it is. Because I could see somebody, I feel like typically people like Joey, like, ignore things like this, but the way that he's so head on is just so for real, and it's so respectable. And then it also just makes it hard because the sister, then it's like, you just look like more of a hater because this man is being so, like, everybody sees what you're doing. It's not real concern. It's like, you're kind of just projecting insecurity, right? Anyway, Monica's biggest hater brings up how in high school, how basically she's like, I'm nervous for you. Like, I just want you to choose the right people because you have a problem with not choosing the right people. And Monica's like, when? And she's like, in high school. And Monica's like, 15 years ago. Can you? 15 years. That's, you're a hater. You're a hater. Monica's sister. Like, there is some part of me that wants to lean into the idea of, you know what, Monica's sister just like cares about her. But then she says stuff like this, and I'm like, be so for real. Be so for real. What? Yeah, high school? Stop it, Monica's sister. Anyway, because Joey's just the greatest, dude. I say that, and I don't know these people on TV. I don't know them at all. Like, literally look at what's happening with Alex. Got a little ill for a second. Anyway, so Monica brings up more concerns, and I basically just make some notes about how, like, it's weird because we haven't heard these before. I made a note and I was like, the families keep talking. Do we care? Joey pulls a chair for his sister. I'm not crying. You are. Bitch. I'm not crying. You are. God, I love him. Anyway, Joey is skating down the aisle, and I think it's only acceptable because he has the right audience. Like, if you have the right audience, this can be done for you, but if you don't, flop. But he has the right audience, he has the right people that see him for him. Initially I was a hater, but now I'm kind of like, it's just him. It's like, whatever. I love that Monica's mom and dad walked her down the aisle. Oh my god, I'm such a huge proponent of this, because if two people raise you, have them walk you down the aisle and give you away. If two people take part in raising you, have them do that. If you were raised by like a single mom or like a single dad, like have the person who raised you, have the people who raised you walk you down the aisle. The idea of like the man giving, oh my god, it just makes me so. But for a moment, my faith in humanity was just restored, because I feel like we've been seeing more moms and dads walk them down the aisle. So they speak to each other at the altar, which is always a little uncomfortable, is it not? The whole like, Joey, I knew from the first moment in the pods. Oh, okay, we all knew. Like we know. I don't know. There's something about it. I don't know if that's like a me problem. It probably is, but it just feels a little bit like, okay, am I just like void of anything that brings like joy and happiness? Because should that make me feel better? I don't know. But they do say sweet things. I will say that. They do say sweet things. And of all the people to talk at the altar, I feel like I mostly could stand them. They ask, would you take blah, blah, blah? And then Monica says, I don't right now. And I love that. The only reason I reacted a little bit like, ooh, is because it's hard. It's like hard whenever everybody's gathered and there's so much pressure and like, oh god, you feel like you're probably laying down a bunch of people. But I love the I don't right now, because that's like perfectly fine. It's getting married after like 2 weeks of physically being with each other. That's crazy, because it's like completely fine if it's to do okay. I don't right now. I'd recommend more couples to do the I don't right now if you like truly do want to get married, you know? It feels kind of like wild that people even just do and it works out. But I love that they walked out together. I think they're one of the only couples that have walked out together and been like fine. And I was gonna say I want to see more of that. I kind of love the drama of like the individual walkouts though. I do. It feels a little awkward though in a way after they separate, because Joey's like, thanks for saying the nice things. And she's like, oh, of course, it felt a little weird, because once Joey admitted to us the reasons why he thinks she said no, it was like the whole like sister piece and then the physical affection piece. And then also she just said, I love you for the first time at the altar. That also I feel like provided context as to why it felt a little bit awkward between them when they separated, because it was like, why was it so weird for you guys? You guys are like perfect and normally very comfortable, but that felt a little weird. But yeah, they only just now said I love you, so it probably feels like wild and crazy. Also, thank goodness it was a no. If you're just now saying I love you at the altar, oh my god, thank ugh. So we have Devon and Virginia. This is the last couple, the second to last couple. Also, for Joey and Monica, I hope they're still together by the reunion. I feel like they're not, though. I feel like they're not, because I looked at the reunion looks and they do not look like they're coordinated whatsoever. And they seem like a couple that would want to be coordinated, right? Which was actually going to hurt my soul, because I kind of feel like they're perfect. They're perfectly matched up. They have good energy. I think they'd be great, but we'll see what's happening. We'll see. Devon and Virginia. The fact that I even have notes on these people is so annoying. So Devon's family asks, have you had any arguments? As they're all just like sitting, getting ready with each other. Such a good question. I think it's so good to talk about communications with, for a minute, I just remembered the fact that I have to eat dinner, and then I remember that Chick-fil-A was open, and I was like, I need to go. Sorry. This is so unprofessional. This is unprofessional. I'm a girl on my couch talking about a reality TV show. Devon's family asks, have you had any arguments? Good question. And I don't think that you should be married if you haven't had arguments. I'm being for real. I think, and there are some people who claim like, oh, we just don't argue. I think you guys are liars. And it's not to say that like I don't believe I think the arguments provide so much value, because when you have two conflicting people and the conflict like comes to a head, that's when an argument starts, that's when conversation starts. It can get like horrible if you're trying to be harmful and abusive and horrific, but for the most part I think that arguments between couples, if done in a healthy way to seek understanding between two people, are so good and so such a realistic indicator as to how you can communicate with people authentically. Anyways, I like that question. He says, "No, I don't think that we've had arguments. We've had difficult conversations with politics and stuff because now you know I voted for Big Daddy T because of my religion." Yeah, because your religion like prompts you to vote for a rapist. Just kidding. We don't know if we don't know how he voted, okay? He just said that he typically does conservative, which is so disappointing. My God, it's so disappointing. So, and then I also feel like as I was listening to them talk, dude, I don't think that I have ever strongly identified with the term bored to tears, that bored me to tears, more than watching Devin interact with his friends and family. Oh my god. Oh my god. Because they're just the most boring people alive. And there's no light behind the eyes. And there's no there's like all of the laughs are like very weird and like shallow feeling. And I just feel like I wanted to skip that whole entire thing. I didn't. I wanted to. So then and talk to Virginia. Virginia has the same effect on me, dude. I keep saying there just feels dull, but it's like an extra amount of dullness to where I feel like Virginia has moments where we can see that she has a personality. But then she goes back to the whole like slow talking, neck tilted, kind of like vague descriptions like thing. And you're like, what the heck? I feel like I see glimpses of a person between you, but whatever. Um Becky, Devon's mom, Becky. Becky comes in to talk to Virginia, and Virginia's probably like, "Oh, hey Becky, little trumper." Ew. It's weird because it's like, "Oh, I learned some things about you." Um so Virginia. Becky's like very supportive of this union, supportive of this marriage, and she's like, "Oh my god, it's like a match made in heaven." Virginia's like, "Or hell." Or hell. Virginia talking with her family, her daddy comes in, her I never just call men who are fathers daddy. Just like I that felt a little weird for me to do that. Virginia's dad, I don't know if anybody remembers what he looks like. Virginia said her family was black. Her dad is a type of black that if Virginia hadn't told us, I would not have assumed that man was full black. I would ask to see DNA results. Like some black people, when they come in the lightest shade, I'm like, are you sure? Sure. It doesn't matter, but sometimes I see white passing black people and I'm like, how? I'm trying to make fun of her, Virginia and Virginia's dad. I'm sure you guys are lovely people. I just sometimes am flabbergasted and astounded as somebody who is this melanated to see somebody who's not. You know what I mean? We get back to Virginia, and Virginia starts to cry walking down the aisle after Devin walks down. And I feel like the way that she was crying was just such an indicator of like what is to come, because she didn't cry out of like a joyous thing. It felt very much like a pained, like, oh, I'm seeing you, and oh. Anyway, Devin says I do. He's so excited. He's so happy. I mean, who wouldn't be if you're about to marry somebody who's aspiring to be a millionaire? Who wouldn't be? So Virginia says, I love you so much. Ooh, I'm just not ready. Ah! Even her dad goes, what? What? I feel bad about laughing now because that does break Devin. Like it does. That was sad. Because he really took it hard. He got very emotional in a way that I feel like I don't see men letting their emotions just flow like that. I feel like whenever a guy does get emotional and he hears something that is like hard, they'll really store it up, but I feel like he just couldn't he just had to let it flow. For as much as a hard time as I've been giving Devin, he's really not he's like he's not horrible, he's just boring. But being able to see him be that emotional was like really, that was sad. It did make me sad because you could tell that was somebody who just saw his future slip out of his eyes, like slipping out of his hands. That was sad and that was hard. Because it just broke him. It just broke him. But I mean, and it's weird because I feel like a lot of people react and they kind of instantaneously are like, what the heck? What the heck? Especially Virginia's mom being like, I thought she was looking for a husband. Okay, Becky. Okay. Like maybe, I mean, she was until she wasn't, right? Okay, Rebecca. Rebecca. Interesting. So then we have Taylor and Daniel. I don't really have much to say about this because they didn't give me much to talk about. They go to the altar, they both say yes. I'm sorry if that's really disappointing that I wrote down like descriptions for everything else, but I don't have anything to say about Daniel and Taylor ever since the scandal stopped. After that scandal, okay. I just they've been doing so good and they deserve the world. And yeah, wishing them the best. I feel like they're still together based off of their reunion fits because they look like they would come together. Especially because she's wearing white. For some reason, I kind of feel like she's gonna do like a little like nod to the maybe their like anniversary because I feel like they got married around this time, right? I don't know. Prediction for the reunion, I think that Daniel and Taylor are still together. They seem like normal, regular Midwestern people. They didn't have like much big drama except for the whole Instagram thing. Except for that, we didn't really see a lot of like conflicting things. Politically, they look like the same people, so I feel like they're not really going to differ in a lot of things. I would say they look similar as in like they look alike, but to say like they look like people that like would not have differing views at all. So but I mean, I could say the same exact thing about Lauren and Dave. Speaking of Lauren and Data, I'm excited to see what they talk about at the reunion. It actually makes me a little bit sad knowing that the reunion is going to be the end of this. Even though this was a little bit of a boring season, I'm grateful to be here. And some of these moments were interesting to talk about and to talk through. But I will have to see everybody at the reunion. Questions for the comments. Did you see this coming? Oh, also, I forgot to mention, I did see Sarah and Ben's stupid thing coming because the girl from TikTok ruined everything and spoiled it when she was talking about her horrible experience with Ben that she had over 4 years ago about how he ghosted her. Well, he got what he deserved because she said no at the altar. I was like, what the? You should be like held like liably responsible. You should be held responsible when you spoil things just out of the blue because it was I knew what Sarah was gonna say going into it. I hate, girl, you're annoying. I see why Ben ghosted you. That's enough. I have to get going. Wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, whatever time of day it is, I hope you have an amazing morning, afternoon, or night.